The thunderous crash of shattering glass echoed through the marble-floored foyer of the Harrington estate, freezing Elias Ramirez in place as he clutched the silver tray in his trembling hands. In that split second, his world teetered on the edge. Years of silent servitude shattered like the antique vase now in pieces at his feet, courtesy of a drunken outburst from Mr. Harrington himself. But it wasn't the rage in the old man's eyes that terrified Elias. It was the piercing gaze of Connor Harrington, the family's golden son, who stepped forward from the shadows, his voice cutting through the chaos like a lifeline. It was an accident. Father, leave him alone. Elias had arrived at the Harrington mansion in upscale Westchester County, New York, 2 years earlier, a 24-year-old immigrant from a small Texas border town, fleeing a life of poverty and unspoken secrets. With his warm olive skin, neatly trimmed black hair, and a quiet strength honed from years of odd jobs, he blended into the background as the household's maid, a term the family used loosely for the all-purpose housekeeper who dusted crystal chandeliers, prepared gourmet meals, and vanished when not needed. The Harringtons were old money. Theodore Harrington, a cutthroat Wall Street tycoon, his poised wife, Lillian, a socialite with a penchant for charity galas, and their only child, Connor, 26, heir to the empire, fresh from Harvard Business School and already chafing under the weight of expectations. Connor was everything Elias wasn't: tall, broad-shouldered, with chiseled features that turned heads at country club events, and a restless energy that hinted at deeper turmoil. He spent his days in boardrooms, negotiating deals that expanded the family fortune, but his nights were filled with aimless drives through the city, seeking something real amid the facade. Elias noticed him first during those quiet evenings, when Connor would linger in the kitchen after dinner, nursing a whiskey and watching Elias scrub counters with a focus that bordered on meditative. "You don't have to do that alone," Connor had said once, rolling up his sleeves to help, their hands brushing in a moment that sent an unexpected spark through Elias. But sparks were dangerous in a house like this. Elias kept his head down, his secrets buried deep. The reason he'd left Texas wasn't just economic hardship, but a brutal rejection from his conservative family after they discovered his attraction to men. Here, in this gilded cage, he found solace in routine, though loneliness gnawed at him. Connor, too, harbored his own hidden through the string of discreet encounters in Manhattan's underground scene, always ending before dawn to preserve the family's pristine image. Their worlds collided subtly at first, a shared glance over breakfast, a late-night conversation in the library where Elias confessed his love for poetry, and Connor revealed his passion for photography, capturing raw emotions the world ignored. One stormy afternoon, as rain lashed the estate's manicured lawns, Elias was polishing the grand piano in the music room when Connor burst in, soaked and furious from a heated argument with his father about a risky investment. "He thinks I'm just his puppet," Connor muttered, slamming the door. Elias paused, his cloth hovering, unsure whether to speak. "You're more than that," he said softly, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. Connor looked up, really looked, and in that vulnerability, something shifted. They talked for hours about dreams deferred, families that suffocated, and the ache of living half-lives. As the storm subsided, Connor reached out, his fingers tracing Elias's jawline. "You've been here all along, haven't you?" he whispered, pulling him close for a kiss that tasted of desperation and hope. The kiss ignited a fire neither could extinguish. Stolen moments became their sanctuary, whispered promises in the pantry, hurried embraces in the guest wing when the family was away. Elias felt alive for the first time, his guarded heart unfolding under Connor's touch, which was tender yet fierce, mapping every inch of his body with reverence. Connor, in turn, found in Elias a mirror to his soul, a man who saw beyond the air to the person yearning for authenticity. But danger lurked. Lillian's sharp eyes noticed the lingering looks, and Theodore's homophobic rants at dinner parties echoed warnings of scandal. As weeks turned to months, their bond deepened amid escalating tension. Elias shared stories of his Texas childhood, the beatings from his father after being caught with a schoolmate, the exile that led him north. Connor confessed his own fears, the pressure to marry a suitable woman, produce heirs, continue the legacy. "I can't keep pretending," Connor said one night, as they lay tangled in Elias's modest quarters above the garage. "But if we do this, it could destroy everything." Elias pulled him closer, their bodies fitting perfectly, a symphony of gasps and moans that drowned out the world. Yet, in the afterglow, doubt crept and cold love survived the chasm between servant and master. The turning point came during the Harringtons' annual gala, a glittering affair attended by New York's elite. Elias served champagne anonymously, his uniform a cloak of invisibility, while Connor schmoozed donors in a tailored tuxedo. But when a tipsy guest cornered Elias in the hallway, slurring derogatory remarks about the help, Connor intervened, his voice booming, "He's more family than you'll ever be." The room fell silent, whispers spreading like wildfire. Theodore pulled Connor aside, his face purple with rage. "What the hell was that? You're embarrassing us." Connor stood tall, his eyes locking with Elias's across the crowd. In that moment, he knew he was ready to risk it all. The fallout from the gala rippled through the estate like aftershocks, leaving Elias on edge as he navigated his duties with feigned normalcy. Theodore's glare followed him everywhere, a silent accusation that made Elias's stomach churn, while Lillian's polite inquiries about his well-being carried an undercurrent of suspicion. Connor, however, burned brighter than ever, sneaking into Elias's room that night with a fervor that spoke volumes. "I don't care what they think anymore. You're mine, and I'm yours." Their love affair intensified in the shadows of secrecy, each encounter a blend of passion and peril. In the dim light of dawn, they'd explore each other with unhurried hands, Connor's fingers trailing down Elias's spine, eliciting shivers that built to ecstasy, their rhythms sinking in a dance as old as time. Elias marveled at Connor's body, lean and powerful from years of rowing at Harvard, while Connor worshipped Elias's compact frame, scarred from manual labor but resilient, a testament to survival. "You're beautiful," Connor murmured against his skin, their lovemaking a rebellion against the constraints binding them. But the world outside intruded relentlessly. Connor's best friend, Marcus, a fellow Harvard alum now working in finance, sensed the change during a weekend visit. Over beers on the patio overlooking the Hudson River, Marcus prodded, "You've been distant. Man, is there someone?" Connor hesitated, then confided partially, omitting Elias's identity. Marcus's reaction was mixed, supportive yet cautious. "Be careful. Your old man would disown you if it's not the right kind." Elias overheard from the kitchen, his heart sinking at the reminder of their fragility. Elias's own past resurfaced when a letter arrived from his sister in Texas, pleading for money to help their ailing mother. He hadn't spoken to his family in years, the wounds too fresh, but guilt gnawed at him. Sharing it with Connor one evening in the garden, under a canopy of blooming roses, Elias broke down. "They threw me out like trash because I loved a boy. How can I go back?" Connor held him, their tears mingling, promising, "We'll face it together. I'll help with the money, whatever it takes." That night, their intimacy reached new depths, a fusion of bodies and souls that left them breathless, affirming their commitment amid uncertainty. Tensions escalated when Theodore announced a family meeting in his oak-paneled study, the air thick with cigar smoke and unspoken threats. "I've noticed irregularities," he barked, eyeing Connor. "Distractions that could jeopardize our legacy." Connor met his father's stare defiantly. "If you mean my personal life, it's none of your business." Lillian interjected softly, her voice laced with concern. "Darling, we're just worried. There are expectations." Elias, eavesdropping from the hallway while pretending to dust, felt a chill wear onto them. The confrontation boiled over during a heated dinner. Theodore slammed his fist on the table. "I won't have my son wasting time with the help." "Yes, I know about you and that boy." The room froze. Connor rose, his chair scraping loudly. "His name is Elias, and I love him. More than this hollow life you've built." Lillian gasped, her hand to her chest, while Elias, summoned into the fray, stood trembling. "Sir, he began, but Connor cut him off. "Don't apologize. This is real." Theodore's ultimatum was swift. "End it, or you're cut off." "And he leaves tonight." Devastated, Elias packed his bags in the garage apartment, tears blurring his vision. Connor found him there, pulling him into a fierce embrace. "I won't let you go," he whispered, their lips crashing together in a kiss fueled by desperation. They made love one last time on the narrow bed, urgent and raw, bodies slick with sweat, cries muffled against pillows. As Elias clung to him, Connor vowed, "I'll choose you. We'll start over." But doubt lingered. Could Connor truly abandon his world? In the days that followed, Connor defied his father, transferring funds to a secret account and planning their escape. Elias, torn between love and fear, confided in a fellow housekeeper from a nearby estate during a rare outing to the local market. "Love like this doesn't come easy," she said wisely. "Fight for it." Bolstered, Elias returned to find Connor waiting with tickets to San Francisco, a fresh start in a city known for embracing differences. Yet, betrayal struck when Marcus, fearing for Connor's future, leaked the affair to Theodore. The tycoon raged, locking down accounts and threatening legal action against Elias for theft of household items, a fabricated charge. Cornered, Connor confronted Marcus. "You were supposed to be my friend." The betrayal cut deep, mirroring Elias's own family wounds. In a moment of raw emotion, they fled to a motel on the outskirts of town. Their first night of freedom, laced with anxiety but sweetened by unbridled passion's low, exploratory touches that reaffirmed their bond. As they huddled together, watching the city lights from the window, Connor traced patterns on Elias's back. "This is worth everything." Elias nodded, his heart swelling with a love that transcended fear. But the road ahead loomed uncertain, filled with challenges that would test their resolve. Holed up in the dingy motel room on the edge of Yonkers, Elias and Connor faced the harsh reality of their rebellion, the weight of Theodore's wrath pressing down like an invisible storm. Sirens wailed in the distance, a stark contrast to the estate's serene silence. As Connor paced the threadbare carpet, his phone buzzing with ignored calls from his mother. "We can't hide forever," Elias said softly, pulling Connor onto the sagging bed, their fingers intertwining in a grip that anchored them amid the chaos. Their escape had been frantic, Connor grabbing essentials, Elias leaving behind the few possessions that tied him to his old life. In San Francisco, they envisioned a new beginning, Connor leveraging his skills for a startup job, Elias pursuing community college for a degree in social work, inspired by his own struggles. But first, they had to evade Theodore's private investigators, whispers of whom reached them through a sympathetic cousin. "He's furious," the cousin texted. "Says you've thrown away your future for a fling." It wasn't a fling. It was a lifeline. In the motel's dim glow, They rediscovered each other with a tenderness born of adversity. Connor's lips mapping Elias's collarbone, eliciting soft moans that filled the room, their bodies moving in harmony, a testament to their unbreakable connection. "I love you," Connor breathed against his ear, the words a balm for Elias's insecurities. Post-climax. They lay entwined, sharing dreams, a small apartment by the bay, weekend hikes in the redwoods, a life free from judgment. Back in Westchester, Lillian grappled with her son's absence, her charity events feeling hollow without him. She visited Elias's empty quarters, finding a forgotten photo of him as a child, smiling innocently. It humanized him, chipping at her prejudices. Theodore, however, doubled down, hiring lawyers to freeze assets and spread rumors in elite circles, painting Connor as unstable. "He'll come crawling back," he snarled. Meanwhile, Elias reached out to his sister, wiring money for their mother's care via a burner phone. Her response was tentative. "Mama asks about you." Things have changed here. It sparked hope, mirroring Connor's own family rift. They drove west in a rented car, stopping in small towns along Route 80, where anonymity allowed stolen kisses in diners and passionate nights in roadside inns. In one such stop in Ohio, under a starlit sky, they made love in the back seat, urgent and wild, the confined space amplifying every sensation: sweat-slicked skin, ragged breaths, a release that echoed their liberation. Challenges mounted as funds dwindled. Connor took odd jobs waiting tables in Chicago, far from his executive past, while Elias cleaned motels, his hands calloused anew. Arguments flared. "Is this what you wanted?" Elias snapped during a heated moment in a Nebraska cornfield stopover. Connor pulled him close. "You are what I want." Their reconciliation was fierce, bodies colliding in a frenzy that dissolved tensions, reaffirming their commitment. A pivotal moment came in Denver, where they attended a local LGBTQ support group, sharing their story anonymously. Hearing others' tales of rejection and triumph bolstered them. "Love wins when you fight for it," a veteran activist said, inspiring Connor to call his mother. Lillian's voice cracked. "I miss you, son. Your father. He's stubborn, but I see now how unhappy you were." It was a crack in the armor, hinting at reconciliation. Elias, too, faced his demons, video calling his sister from a Salt Lake City library. "I'm with someone," he admitted. "A man." Her pause was long, but she replied, "As long as you're happy, Eli." Tears flowed, healing old wounds. That night, in their modest room, their intimacy was profound, slow caresses building to ecstasy, a celebration of growth. As they neared California, Theodore's influence caught up, a blocked credit card, a threatening email. Connor confronted it head-on, emailing back, "This is my life, Dad. Accept it or lose me forever." The response was silence, but it freed Connor further. They arrived in San Francisco under a foggy dawn, renting a tiny studio in the Castro district, a haven for their kind. Settling in, Connor landed a junior position at a tech firm, his charisma shining through. Elias enrolled in classes, thriving in an environment that valued his experiences. Their days blended work and study, nights filled with exploration walks along the Golden Gate, dinners in vibrant neighborhoods, and love that grew deeper. In their bed, overlooking the city, they'd lose themselves in each other, touches lingering, bodies arching in mutual surrender. Yet, shadows lingered. News of Theodore's health scary: a minor heart attack reached them via Lillian. "He wants to see you," she pleaded. Connor agonized. Elias supporting, family matters, even when it hurts. They decided to return briefly, a test of their strength. The flight back to New York was turbulent, mirroring the storm in Connor's heart as he gripped Elias's hand under the airplane blanket, their fingers a silent vow amid the uncertainty. Landing at JFK, the familiar skyline evoked mixed emotions: nostalgia for the life left behind, dread of the confrontation ahead. "Whatever happens," Elias whispered as they drove to the estate, "we face it together." The Harrington mansion loomed unchanged, its grandeur a facade for the fractures within. Lillian greeted them at the door, her eyes welling as she hugged Connor, then tentatively embraced Elias. "Thank you for bringing him home." Theodore, weakened but unbowed, sat in his study, oxygen mask nearby. "You've caused quite the stir," he grumbled, but his tone lacked its former bite. Connor sat opposite, Elias by his side. "I love him, Dad. That's not changing." The conversation unfolded painfully, Theodore recounting his own rigid upbringing, fears of weakness in a cutthroat world. "I thought I was protecting you," he admitted gruffly. Elias spoke up, his voice steady. "Love isn't weakness, sir. It's what makes us human." Theodore's eyes softened, perhaps seeing Elias not as the maid, but as a man who'd endured more than he knew. By evening's end, no full apology came, but a truce. "Stay for dinner. We'll talk more." That night, in Connor's old room, they made love quietly, the familiarity of the space heightening the intimacy, soft kisses trailing down torsos, hands exploring with renewed appreciation, climaxes whispered to avoid detection. It was a reclaiming, turning a place of repression into one of affirmation. Reconciliation deepened over days. Lillian shared family albums, including photos of a young Theodore, vulnerable in ways she'd hidden. "We all have secrets," she confided to Elias during a walk in the garden. Connor and his father bonded over business talks, Theodore offering advice without demands. Elias, no longer in uniform, felt seen, invited to meals as a guest, his insights valued. But external pressures persisted. Society whispers reached them, canceled invitations, judgmental stares at a local event. Connor addressed it publicly in a blog post for a progressive finance site. "Love knows no class or gender. I'm proud to be with Elias." The response was mixed support from millennials, backlash from traditionalists, but it empowered them. Elias's family ties strengthened too. A phone call to his mother brought tears. "Come visit. Mijo. Bring your friend." Planning a Texas trip, they prepared for potential rejection, but hope bloomed. In preparation, their bond intensified: lazy afternoons in bed, bodies entwined in playful yet passionate encounters, laughter mingling with moans. A crisis tested them when Theodore's condition worsened, requiring hospitalization. Connor stepped up, managing affairs while supporting Elias through his studies via distance. In hospital visits, Theodore opened up. "I was wrong about you too. Don't let fear rule like I did." It was a turning point, his blessing implicit. Returning to San Francisco transformed, they built a life rich in meaning. Connor advanced at work, advocating for LGBTQ rights in corporate policy. Elias excelled in school, interning at a nonprofit aiding immigrants. Their home became a sanctuary, friends gathering for dinners, stories shared of triumphs over adversity. Intimacy evolved, becoming a language of their love, tender mornings with lingering touches, adventurous nights exploring desires openly. One evening, under the bay's twinkling lights, Connor proposed on one knee. "Marry me, Elias. Let's make this forever." Elias's yes was fervent, sealed with a kiss that promised eternity. The wedding was intimate, in a Castro chapel, attended by Lillian and a recovering Theodore, who walked Connor down the aisle with gruff pride. Elias's family flew in, his mother embracing Connor warmly. "Welcome to the family." Vows exchanged amid tears. They danced into the night, bodies swaying in perfect sync. Years later, they adopted a child from foster care, teaching resilience and love. Connor's philanthropy funded shelters for LGBTQ youth, Elias leading counseling programs. Their story inspired many, a beacon of hope that love, when risked for, conquers all. Reflecting on their journey from servant and heir to equals in love, they knew every trial had forged something unbreakable. In quiet moments, they'd hold each other, grateful for the risk that led to this profound happiness. As the sun set over the San Francisco skyline, casting golden hues through their apartment windows, Elias and Connor stood on the balcony, arms wrapped around each other, reflecting on a decade of shared life that had blossomed from the ashes of upheaval. Their adopted daughter, Mia, played inside, her laughter a melody that underscored the family they'd built against all odds. "Remember that first kiss in the music room?" Connor murmured, his breath warm against Elias's neck, evoking memories that still ignited sparks. Their marriage had been a catalyst for change. Theodore, fully recovered, visited often, bonding with Mia over stories of his youth. His transformation completed, a once stern patriarch now advocating for inclusivity in his firm's diversity initiatives. Lillian doted on her granddaughter, her socialite circle evolving to include progressive causes. Elias's family reconciled fully. Trips to Texas became annual traditions, his mother's acceptance a healing balm. Professionally, they thrived. Connor founded a venture capital firm focused on underrepresented entrepreneurs, channeling his inheritance into ethical investments. Elias, with his degree, ran a nonprofit supporting LGBTQ immigrants, drawing from his experiences to empower others. Together, they spoke at conferences, their story a powerful narrative of resilience and love's transformative power. Intimacy remained the cornerstone, evolving with time, passionate reunions after travels, gentle affirmations during stresses, always deepening their connection. One anniversary, they revisited New York, staying at the estate, now a welcoming haven. In Connor's childhood bed, they rediscovered the thrill of forbidden love, bodies moving with seasoned grace, whispers of "I love you" punctuating peaks of pleasure. Challenges arose. As they do, Mia's questions about her origins, societal biases in schools, but they navigated with open communication, modeling vulnerability. A health scare for Elias, a minor surgery, reminded them of life's fragility, leading to renewed vows in a private ceremony. Their passion reignited in a Hawaiian getaway, waves crashing as they loved under the stars. Their impact rippled outward. A book co-authored about their journey became a bestseller, inspiring a film that humanized LGBT struggles in conservative worlds. Royalties funded scholarships, ensuring others could risk for love without losing everything. In quieter times, they'd sit with Mia, reading stories of courage, instilling values of empathy and authenticity. "Love isn't always easy," Elias would say, glancing at Connor, "but it's worth every risk." Connor's nod, hand squeezing his, spoke volumes. As Mia grew, she witnessed their unbreakable bond, anniversary dances in the living room, shared glances over dinner, learning that true family transcends blood. Theodore's passing years later was peaceful. His final words to them, "I'm proud of the men you've become." It closed a chapter, but their story continued, a legacy of love. On their 20th anniversary, surrounded by friends and family in a Bayside celebration, Connor toasted to Elias, "The man who was just the maid, but became my everything. We risked it all, and won." Elias's response, a deep kiss amid cheers, encapsulated their journey from shadows to light. In the end, their love proved that vulnerability breeds strength, that risking for authenticity yields profound rewards. It taught that humanity's greatest value lies in embracing differences, fostering connections that heal divides. As they walked hand in hand into the future, Elias and Connor embodied hope, a reminder that love, when fought for, endures eternally, inspiring generations to risk it all for what truly matters.